made B2 Audio X2C Subwoofers. And these subwoofers are handmade and now handmade here in the US of A, which starts with a 5-inch 8-layer high temp coil. These are particularly dual 1-ohm. And to put this together, it needs not one but 2 spiders and 2 rings that get glued together and bolted together. As you see here, we 3D printed a cap because to get the spider in the right place of this coil, it's got to be able to sit down in the motor. Come on over here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Which yesterday, with multiple layers of CA and epoxy, we have glued the 100+ pound motors to the baskets. And then this has to actually sit in here at the right height so it doesn't bottom out or overextend. So basically how we did that is we measured half of the coil plus 15 millimeters to put that spider here, the first spider, all right, which ends up coming out like this, the first part of it, soldered. And then there's another layer spider and everything else before we even get to this part, which is the surround and the dust cap, all carbon fiber. So this is the X2Cs. Come around the other way here. So where we're at right now is we're going to start first using some black CA medium velocity, which is a little bit rubbery. I'm using the IC2000, and we don't want to use accelerator right away because we actually want this to bleed in and soak up by the spider so it bonds to the aluminum coil. When I say aluminum, this part is aluminum and then the copper is wound with a high temp glue. So we want to get enough of this first layer, which is multiple layers of gluing and epoxy, so it actually soaks in. And I'll show you that in a little bit as it soaks in. And the more it soaks in, the better it will be because it actually bonds the two together. So we're using this. We're using famous A6000. Careful with that stuff. And then once we get the first part done, then Mr. Donovan here can solder the tinsel leads. And then once I get enough on there, I'll run a bead of E6000, and then we will finish this all up with 2-part epoxy. So right now, I want it to not cure fast because it is literally soaking in to the spider. Let me see if we can see it already, if it's doing it. Hold on. You can see it's starting to turn black there. So it's actually soaking in, which is what we want. So it bonds the two together. Whoever's in here, say what's up and where you're tuning in from on a Saturday at about noon Eastern time.
We had one Rogue. Give us a like.
Juan, Rogue?
Yeah.
What's up, man? Juan's in the house. He's rebuilding. I think he's rebuilding some, isn't he?
I think so, yeah, he was.
So these subs right here, actually, we got to make 5, 6. I forgot, 5 or 6 were sold. Basically, you have to order them on our website or if B2 Audio's website, and then we hand build them, which just drying time is 24 hours, but we have a couple days to actually make them.
Oh, we got Kamar Johnson from
Kamar, what's up?
Marco Valdovinos.
So you guys are tuning in. Stay right there. 5-inch 8-layer high temp coils, 5,000 watts RMS for the B2 Audio X2Cs. Yes, the parts come from overseas. They used to be hand built in Denmark by J Home, but now that we're doing a lot here in the USA again, we're hand building them here, so we got the parts shipped. We're making them. Come around this way, show everybody these monsters. So you got a huge motor structure. These were glued, Loctited, and bolted down yesterday. So once we built the coils, pop those in there. These will be, 2 of these are going out to Rick Fornes, part of B2 Audio USA team. B2 Audio, and we got a couple other people that ordered some. Total carbon fiber. 15-inch. We're building dual ones right now. So 2 red spiders, glued and bolted. Glued, there, right there, glued and bolted.
And Marco says, thank you for the audio pipe DSP. I guess you want it.
Oh, awesome. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So these will actually get glued and bolted together. Basically, well, we could kind of show you what it looks like here.
Yep.
That goes on there, and that gets glued too. Then the 2 get glued together and then bolted all the way down to the chassis. So why you have to have those 2 spiders? Because there's so much force. Imagine the force out of this giant of a motor. And look inside, you can even see there's porting done in there too. I mean,
Yeah.
so the X2C's been around for years. Jay's always hand built them out in Denmark, shipped them out. So that's what we're working on right now. So now that this is kind of soaked in a little bit, you can really see the black showing through as it's getting in the spider. So once I got that, then I'm kind of where I want to be at. So then I'll lock it in a little bit.
Can you share ported airspace requirements? Come on, Johnson.
These?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there should be on the site under the, but basically, well, we can get the specs. It should be on the side. I don't have them in my head. Like I said, these aren't everyday sold woofers, and you can see we're hand building them. Which when you order them, they will be hand built. So now that we got that first run, now I want to start locking in the bottom part here. See that?
Yeah.
So same thing, I want to start off with the IC2000, everyone. Why? Because I want it to soak in also. So the more it soaks into the spider, here, let me show you, the better of a bond it's going to get. And there's multiple layers of gluing. Basically, when this is done, it'll be filled in all the way down to this web, that rib right there. Don't worry about the way it looks. It's going to soak in, and I'm going to flatten it out. So that's why I'm not just spraying it right away, because I want this to soak in. We want it to soak in. Jay says the more that soaks in, the more permanent this will be. And if you're running 5,000 plus real watts of this thing, you do not want it to bust apart. If you all got any questions, good. Ben will read them out to me. We don't go live that much on YouTube, especially on the weekends, so this is kind of cool. I figured everybody want to see this. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit more around it, and then there we go. I'm going to run a finger just to kind of spread it out. I want to get it all up in there, all up in there. Okay, so this is not the E6000. That E6000 is still coming. Right now, I want this stuff is a lot thinner, and it'll soak in, as you can see it. And like I said, we're not trying to cure it fast. So this whole process, like yesterday, we did the putting the motor and structure and the basket together, let that cure. Today, we're building this part of the spider, and then that'll cure 24 hours before we actually start putting these together. So Donovan actually 3D printed some caps to help us gap, because like I said, this is real important where it is. Okay, so now letting that soak in. So we soaked it from both sides. Basically, it's like wood glue, everybody. It's not the screws or the brad nails holding the wood together. The wood glue actually bonds the two materials together. Same concept here. Then we're still going to do at the end a 2-part epoxy, which will be unbreakable at the very, very end. But don't forget, we still have to put another spider, 2 rings here. So when you purchase X2C Subwoofers, you're paying some money, but you're also getting hand-built, tested 5-inch coils. All right, so that's soaking in real nice. So now the next step, I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna just lock this in a little bit. Okay, so the next step is E6000, which everybody commonly know when they're re-coning woofers, the rubber surround. We're gonna use this, because this right here, this is When this is on, it's done. But this really takes time to cure. I'm gonna fill this in now that it's soaked into the spider, and I'm gonna basically just lock this all in. So let me concentrate here. Let me get a good amount on there. Don't worry, I'll smooth it out. You're not going to see really much of this anyway. More the merrier. Okay. Put this back on. All right, now I'm going to take my finger. I'm gonna really spread this out. You'll see it as it turns. You can see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That right there is gonna make bond like. I'm trying to think of something funny to say. White boys, butt cheeks in jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we're making. Okay. So I'm also gonna spread it up a little bit higher too. There she is. Look at that. That's looking good, to say myself. So the E6000 is like, I don't know how to explain it. It is, there's nobody else that makes like an E6000. Like E6000 is E6000. But we're still at the end. We're gonna 2-part epoxy, and this is 5-minute epoxy when we're done. Because don't forget, I still have to, these two have to get glued together. So basically, you won't even see the tinsel leads. It'll be sandwiched in. We still got people in watching? Saturday, I know.
19 people watching.
Oh, okay, cool. You guys got any questions or whatever, shout out, let me know. So, yeah, that's looking pretty. Definitely gonna put some more in here. We're gonna really thicken that up. So this is the first steps, building the woofer. You gotta, if it's not a recone kit, you gotta build the kit as a drop-in. That's why they call them recone drop-ins. That's where it's already ready. Basically, you're gonna put the push terminals on. At this point, we have to put it all together. This has to get soldered to it. And then, like I said, these are dual 1 ohm. So these boxes here are 1 ohm and 2 ohm coils. Each coil cost overseas is like $200 for these 5-inch. Can they see this? Let me turn on the light. This is a thick, see all the winding on that? It's a thick coil. It's 8-layer coil. I think 8-layer. Don't kill me here, but yeah. High temp. That's why it'll handle 5,000 plus watts RMS, guys. So these are the X2C models. Now, these are very popular in a sense for real true base heads because they're handmade, they're 5-inch coil, but we are mass producing in like a month or two, should hopefully be here depending on the tariff situation if we have to wait. The Rampages are being mass produced, and the Rampage is pretty beefy, but it's a 4-inch coil, but still huge. This right here is the Mama Jambas. So like my 33-inch, that's what these are made out of. And my Yukon being built right now. Look at that. Yeah, that looks good. I'm digging it. I'm gonna drop another bead around this now that it's sitting. Jay says more the merrier when you're doing this. Oh, you know what? Let's just hit it with the E6000 now. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Let's make it right. I've already went through so many glues. You guys got any questions? Shout out. It's really cool. Here on a Saturday, it's where we do videos. So today's videos is on this kind of stuff. I got to get, now that we're going to start building some other tools we're going to get, especially with the gluing, I think. Make this easier. Let me get that in there.
What's happening, Big Jeff? Glue the shit out of that beast.
Hell yeah.
That's Andrew Richardson.
Who?
Andrew Richardson.
Andrew Richardson. What's up, my friend? Yes, more glue the merrier. Jay Home has got like OCD, ACD, OPP. And he told me when building these, you're going to use, when you think you got enough epoxy and glue, use some more. So he's the man that made this, designed this. I'm gonna follow what he says. Plus these here, we're building a few that were pre-ordered. Basically, if you order them, we usually get them built and shipped out in like 10 days. It takes some time. We can't just stop what we're doing. But two of these are for Rick Fornes, who's on Team B2 USA. So I want to make sure I put extra time into this. All right, that's got plenty now. So I can tell you once this all cures, especially 24 hours, and then we get the sandwiches going on, wedging. It's real cool. Okay, so that's the first start of putting together actual coils. Remember, it's still not done. There's another layer. There's still more work, and then those got to get soldered. Stay right there, Ben. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Big guy over there, Donovan. Too tall Donovan actually had to solder the tinsels on there. See, and then that's what we'll do the next step with the second layer, because it's sandwiched. I know some people see woofers where the tinsels are shown. On these particular ones, no, they get sandwiched the other way. Okay. All right, we'll see you on the next one.